Hello and welcome back to another video. In my last video, we talked about the many independent movements of Europe, and today, we'll talk about the next candidates to join the European Union. The European Union was made the 1st of November of 1993, in the Netherlands. Its purpose was to establish peace and a market for all the members to export and import. The European Union, or EU for short, became big very soon, and in less than 30 years, there's already 28 members. Well, the UK has voted to leave the European Union, but they haven't left yet, so the number is still 28. And all this Brexit thing is very complicated, and it's a topic for another video. This 28 members might increase to 35 or even higher, as many European countries want to join. Here are the 7 countries closest to joining the European Union. Albania is our first candidate. Albania is a small country in the Balkans, that has always been allied with the USSR and the Eastern European countries. However, lately, the people of Albania and its government have started to build closer relations with the European Union, to make it easier for the nation to join the European Union. Over 90% of Albanians are in favor of joining the European Union, and it's estimated that the negotiations between Albania and the EU will start in the middle of October this year. Albania has been a candidate for over 5 years now, and it's predicted that they will join the European Union between 2020 and 2025. Albania's economy could have an incredible boost if this became true, and surely the country will slowly repair itself from the Balkan conflicts. Our next possible member is Bosnia and Herzegovina. This country is also located in the Balkans, and the small country has suffered a lot after the Yugoslav wars. Unlike Croatia and Slovenia, who joined the European Union, Bosnia and Herzegovina is still waiting to become an official candidate. Bosnia's status is so far applicant, which means it isn't in the EU's priorities. It's not confirmed when Bosnia and Herzegovina will start negotiations with the EU to come to an agreement, but for now Bosnia has to stay on its own. The country is also slowly breaking, with the independence movement of the Republic of Srpska, which is splitting the nation in half. Bosnia and Herzegovina will have to think of something fast, to keep the nation together until they join the European Union. It's expected that Bosnia and Herzegovina will become an official member sometime between 2025 and 2035, after Albania. Another country in the Balkans and a former member of Yugoslavia. Montenegro has been negotiating with the European Union for over 7 years, and still they haven't been able to become an official member. However, Montenegro has been able to change its currency to the euro, which hopefully for them, it would bring closer relations between them and the EU. Montenegro first became a candidate in 2010, only 2 years after they became an independent state. For 9 years, Montenegrins have been fighting to join the European Union, and its government is doing all it can to join. Montenegro's economy is one of the lowest in Europe, and it's also one of the poorest countries in Europe. This is the biggest reason why Montenegro wants to join the EU. If Montenegro is lucky, it could consider itself a member by 2025, and hopefully, by 2035, Montenegro's economy would have increased drastically. For now they'll have to continue negotiating. North Macedonia. The former Yugoslav member also in the Balkans, has been a candidate to join the European Union since December of 2005. That means that North Macedonians have been waiting for 14 years and still no result. North Macedonia will start negotiations with the EU somewhere in October 2019. More or less at the same time as Albania. North Macedonia probably didn't start negotiations with the EU yet, because until not so long ago, North Macedonia was actually called Macedonia. This created some conflict with Greece, who is an European Union member. Greece has a region bordering North Macedonia named Macedonia, which created some confusion. For a lot of years North Macedonia and Greece negotiated on what to do. And finally North Macedonia accepted to change its name just to bring closer relations with the European Union and peace with Greece. If North Macedonia has a lot of luck, it would become a member in the next 10 years. Serbia. Serbia has also been fighting to join the European Union. Serbians have been tired of being allied with the USSR and its members, and the people of Serbia now want a dramatic change for the better of the nation. Serbia is a candidate still negotiating with the EU. Serbia first became a candidate in March of 2012, and they started negotiations less than 2 years after. Serbia has had a lot of conflicts in its past, that has dificulted the entry to the European Union. Most EU members consider and recognize Kosovo as a country, and Serbia does not. This and many other reasons explain hasn't joined yet. However, Serbians are so desperate that Serbia may be willing to recognize Kosovo as a sovereign state. That's right. Serbia and Kosovo have started so many conflicts, and so many people have died for these conflicts, and now Serbia are willing to make peace with Kosovo just to join the EU. If Serbia end up recognizing Kosovo, then that's a step closer to being part of the European Union. It's also important to remember that Russia and Serbia are allies right now, and if Serbia end up joining the EU, then Russia and Serbia will stop being allies, which would affect Serbia in its military, as Russia exports and imports a lot of weapons for Serbia. For now, Serbia remains as one of the poorest, most dangerous, and darkest countries in the European continent, but if Serbia is lucky, it could become a member at some time between 2025 to 2035. Aleksandar Vučić is still waiting for something to happen. Kosovo. Kosovo for now has a status of potential candidate, as it isn't an official candidate or a priority of the European Union. After the controversial independence movement from Serbia, the European Union avoided negotiating with them to not create conflict with Serbia. Kosovo already has adopted the euro as the official currency of the nation, which is a step closer to join the European Union. Since, as I mentioned before, Serbia is willing to recognize Kosovo as an independent country just to join the EU, this would make it easier for Kosovo to also join the EU, as finally peace would reign in Kosovo, something that the European Union needs to accept either Serbia or Kosovo. The Kosovian president, Hashim Thaçi, claims that Kosovo will become a candidate, and will start negotiations in not too long, meaning that if Kosovo is lucky, in 2020, Kosovo may become a member of the European Union. It's also key to say that over 90% of Kosovo's people are in favor of joining the European Union, higher than in any other country. Turkey is probably one of the most controversial ones. Many people don't want Turkey to join, as they're a predominantly Muslim country, and most people say that they're not even in Europe, and Turkey has had a lot of conflicts with most of the Balkan countries, such as Greece and Cyprus. Most Turks are in favor of joining the European Union, and they've been negotiating with the European Union since 2005, 6 years after they became a candidate. That's right, Turkey have been a candidate to join the EU for over almost 20 years. What's more, this March of 2019, the European Parliament voted in favor of suspending the negotiations in Turkey's bid to join the EU. After 30 years of stagnation, Europe's leaders clearly do not want Turkey to join the EU. This is bad news for Turkey, but it doesn't precisely mean that Turkey won't be an EU member, it just difficults it more. Turkey is a member of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which would help Turkey in the fact of joining the EU. Turkey is scaring both the EU and NATO, as their economy is increasing as much as their population, and it is the most advanced Muslim country. Turkey already has one of the largest militaries in the world, which scares both the EU and NATO even more, as Turkey could rebel against this if there's no agreement. I can't estimate when they would join, if they'll even join. And those are all the possible next members of the EU. All of these countries are in the Balkans, and most of these countries used to be part of Yugoslavia. If these countries end up joining, peace in the Balkans may rise, something that hasn't happened in ages. Of course, these aren't the only countries that would want to join the EU, as many people in other countries want to, but these are just the most likely. I'm definitely seeing a lot of these countries in the EU already, as some of these are only one step away from joining the European Union. Some other countries in Europe, in which big percentages of its people want to join the EU, are Ukraine is another country that has a big percentage of its population in favor of joining the European Union, to get closer to NATO and the EU and leave its weird relation with Russia. Moldova, with its conflicts with Transnistria and other regions, the nation is broken and disunited, which is why most of its people would like to join the EU, to reestablish peace and reunite the country. Iceland is also another country in which a lot of people wish to form part of the EU. Norway. Many Norwegians are in favor of joining the EU, to get closer to NATO and to build closer relations with its members. As we can see, the European Union is only gonna get bigger as time goes by. Of course, there are a lot of nations inside the EU, in which big percentages of its population don't want to be part of the EU, but that's a topic for another video. If you want me to do a video on countries that might have to leave the EU, then comment it down below, so I hurry and do it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, then don't forget to give me a like, and comment if I missed any nation down below.